Mr. Dave Simon from RingsideReport.net and WrestlingUncensored.net, a man who spoke with Bret the Hitman Hart this week for his program as WWE RAW rolls into Montreal at the Bell Center tomorrow night. It'll be live on television as well, and should be a big event. Dave, I know you'll be in attendance, Stefano Micella as well. What do you figure attendance-wise they'll get?
Well, I'm hoping for a sellout. I don't really know what they're expecting, but I figure that they'll have at least 15,000 people, if not the full 20,000 and change, or whatever it is, 22,000 at the Bell Center. Hopefully it'll be sold out. I'm expecting a good crowd, though, tomorrow night. First time Bret Hart will be in that building since the 1997 Screwjob. Of course, at the 97 Survivor Series, it's been 15 years. And the WWE bringing in Bret Hart, I think to help sell tickets and also to give him that moment and to give the Montreal fans the moment of seeing Bret Hart back in the building. It's gonna be pretty crazy. I was there in '97, and I'll be there tomorrow night. I was actually there in '97 as well. Cool. Yeah. Don't you want to go tomorrow night and see Bret? Nah, I got to put the kids to bed. I can't. I'm not gonna. I only have so many bullets in the gun. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta save it. I got to save it for something really, really special. I would love to see it, but I know it's something I can see on television, so won't be so bad in terms of not going. But, should be electric. I'd like to see some local content there. You think they'll bring out any Rougeos or anything fun like that from Montreal's past? Well, they are doing a Pat Patterson appreciation night. Of course, Pat Patterson from here. He's been with the WWE
as an executive,
yeah, several years. He actually invented the Royal Rumble, came up with that concept. Just a great wrestling mind and a great wrestler, a WWE Hall of Famer. So he'll be honored tomorrow night. I don't know if that'll be on TV. I'm thinking that'll go on after the show when the cameras stop. And I've heard that maybe we'll have some wrestlers that have been known to the Montreal crowd. I've heard rumors of maybe Sylvain Grenier being at the RAW show, so we'll have to see. But Bret Hart coming back and Pat Patterson Appreciation Night really does feel like a Raw geared for the Montreal crowd, which is pretty cool. It's an international television show, and they seem to be bringing in certain things just for the crowd, which they don't do everywhere. Everywhere they go, and they tape these Raws. It would be kind of fun if they did bring in, I know it's not going to happen, I don't see it happening, but if they brought in someone like Shawn Michaels, that would be kind of fun to see him in the same area as Bret Hart in Montreal. We know they've had sort of the romantic sort of bury the hatchet type of stuff done already in the past, but that would be kind of cool for the Montrealers. Yeah, it would be cool to see Shawn Michaels. I think it would be cool to see Vince McMahon as well. I think that Shawn Michaels is not likely to show up tomorrow night in Montreal, but Vince McMahon will be here. He's always at the TV taping, so he'll be here. I expect him to be there for the Pat Patterson Appreciation Night as well. They were both instrumental in creating the WWE. He and Pat are great friends. In fact, Pat Patterson was one of Mr. McMahon's stooges back when he had Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe as kind of his tag team partners. So they have a long history. I expect Vince to be there for Pat Patterson. So maybe we'll see him on TV with Bret Hart as well. I think people would like that. We're chatting with Dave Simon here in studio as Montreal will have Raw tomorrow night. Wrestling is a great heritage of wrestling here in this city, in this province as well. So I'm sure the WWE has a soft spot for Montreal. When was the last time they were here, Dave? They were here for a non-televised event just before WrestleMania. So I guess it was in March, a couple weeks before WrestleMania. They were here. How was that attended? It was pretty good. I mean, they filled up the lower bowl, but it was a non-televised show, and it wasn't promoted as heavily. The biggest thing. But now, I mean, Bret Hart, this is a different kind of deal tomorrow night, and I think that it was well received enough that show that we had before WrestleMania made the WWE say, all right, this is a market that we can hit and we can go back to, and we can do a Raw and maybe a pay-per-view. So it really does depend on how people show up, how many people show up. Do you think it'll be nuts in there? How loud the crowd is. Do you think it'll be loud in there? That'll be something different. I think so. We've seen that in the past with Montreal crowds for wrestling. Yeah, and I think that it's going to be crazy loud when we see Bret Hart. I think that we saw Hulk Hogan here after the night after WrestleMania in Toronto when he wrestled The Rock. Hogan got a 15-minute straight standing ovation. I was at the Bell Center for that. That was a crazy night. And, we are passionate about everything that we like here in Montreal, and that includes professional wrestling. And I expect the crowd to be on fire tomorrow night for Bret Hart and for the entire card. I mean, you got CM Punk, who just left Raw last week with Paul Heyman. People want to find out what's going on there. CM Punk's advertised for a match with John Cena for the WWE title. That'll probably go down after the show ends in the post-event dark match.
What is up with these advertising matches? I mean, just, does anybody really care what the actual match is going in? I think you advertise who will be in action, and you let, whatever the matchup will be happen, because it just seems, it's all set up, but it just seems too set up when you do that.
But with Raw, it's hard to advertise any matches in advance because it all depends on what has just happened. So they like to have a match that they know they can put on, that they can advertise, so that people can at least say, oh, I'm going to see John Cena wrestle CM Punk for the WWE Championship. Punk won't lose the title in that match. It won't be on the Raw broadcast, but we'll get to see it, and it'll be a preview for us of the Night of Champions pay-per-view, where they'll wrestle again in 1 week from tonight, and it'll be a practice run really for them for their pay-per-view match. So I think it makes sense. It's how they do it. It's how they advertise, and it helps them sell tickets.
All right, Dave, I was just wondering really what kind of role Bret Hart can play on tomorrow's broadcast. I mean, we know he's going to be there, and you would think that him not being here in 15 years, you would think they would want to give him some major angle. I mean, I don't expect him just to come out and, let's say, be maybe a guest referee for the main event, or somehow get involved in the CM Punk John Cena storyline.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense to see Bret Hart help CM Punk get more heat, right? I mean, CM Punk is looking at being the top heel in the WWE right now. Bret Hart is going to get a very warm reaction from the Montreal crowd. You would expect CM Punk to come out, interrupt Bret Hart, maybe get physical with Bret, and John Cena to maybe make the save. That could be one option. Another option that I'm hearing is a possibility is Heath Slater. He's wrestled a bunch of legends in the past on episodes of Raw, and apparently he's been teasing some things on Twitter with Natalya, Bret's niece, who wrestles for the WWE. They've been going back and forth about Bret Hart on Twitter, so maybe Bret will just come out and beat up Heath Slater. I would prefer something with CM Punk. I would prefer something, in a main event role where Bret could open up the show with a promo, and then at the end close it out as maybe a special referee or a tag team partner with John Cena versus CM Punk and Paul Heyman or something like that. There are different options out there for the WWE and Bret Hart, and I look forward to seeing what exactly they will do, but no doubt it's going to be great just to see Bret Hart in the ring in Montreal, back at the Bell Center after 15 years.
I don't want to see Bret Hart wrestling anybody. I don't care if it's Heath Slater, and the guy can barely walk properly. I mean, he just has no sense of balance anymore. Unfortunately, it would be a little sad, I think. And I saw footage on YouTube of him wrestling Vince McMahon a couple of years ago or whatever it was. It didn't look good in my estimation.
Yeah, he's not the excellence of execution anymore. He's not the same wrestler he was, but he's 55 years old. Yeah. He's had a stroke, and I think that he can just push Heath Slater around, maybe give him a body slam, slap him into the sharpshooter, and then you're done. Match over. It really doesn't take much to have a match with Heath Slater, and it really wouldn't take much to have a tag team match where your tag team partner is John Cena and Cena's doing all the work. It's a spot for Bret where, yeah, he's in a match, but he's not really wrestling a match.
And this all gets underway, 8 o'clock tomorrow? When are the gates open for people who have tickets out there, Dave?
Yeah, the doors open at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow night. As, some people might be confused. On TV here, Raw airs at 9 p.m. And I do believe that even though it's in Canada, tomorrow night on Canadian television, it'll still air at 9 p.m. But in reality, in the United States, Raw airs live at 8 p.m. So get there early just in case you're confused as to when this show actually starts. The Raw show itself, the 3-hour Raw, will start at 8 p.m., run until about 11, and the doors open at 6:30. The first match is scheduled for 7:30, but I could see them going a little bit earlier than that, maybe around 7. I'd say you want to be there right when doors open at 6:30 tomorrow.